President Trump outlined new information about a missile defense system to protect the U.S. from being attacked. It's called the Golden Dome, and Sarah Jenkins explains in this week's brief.
For months, President Trump has shared his desire for a defense system like Israel's Iron Dome and requested funding for it during his joint address to Congress in March. A recent Pentagon assessment warns of increasing missile threats from China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran over the next decade. With an initial $25 billion budget proposed and a projected total cost of around $175 billion, President Trump said the Golden Dome missile defense system would be capable of intercepting missiles launched from anywhere in the world or space. He said the project would involve multiple states and defense and technology companies, and that Canada wants to be involved. The president said the Golden Dome should be operational before the end of his term in January 2029.
All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. That is to say, in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, Bahashem, meaning in the name, Yahweh Shai, meaning He is our salvation. And that is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, a so-called black man, who, by the way, only came for the Israelites. All right? Now, what you saw in the clip that was just played before you was President Donald Trump ambitious idea of building this Golden Dome to protect America from oncoming threats such as missiles, okay? Because he sees the writing on the wall. He sees the writing or the writings on the walls by what? The prophets, okay? Because you got to remember, he referred to us as the prophets of doom, okay? So this truth is reaching its way all the way to the White House, and such that they had to propose a bill in the Big Beautiful for a budget to build this defense system by the time he leaves office. So what does that go to tell you? It goes to tell you that they're pushing hard to bring forth this chip, this microchip, because in order for Babylon the Great to be destroyed, the microchip must first be made mandatory, okay? It must be made mandatory, all right? Where you have to have it in order to buy and sell, pursuant to Revelation 13, verses 16, 17, all right? So this is great for prophecy that he's trying to put this Golden Dome project in the budget, which they passed for the Big Beautiful Bill, for $175 billion to protect America, which we know it won't be protected, okay? There's no amount of defense that America can do to stop or withstand the prophecies of the word of the Holy Bible, all right? And this is a beautiful time, man, because you're seeing how much this ministry is impacting these Edomites, man. They willing to go out and spend $175 billion to prolong their enterprise, okay? And we know he has but a short time, Revelation 12 and 12. So he's getting ready to come down with that great wrath, all right? They want to put this into place by January 1st, 2029. So the mark of the beast system could very well much be up and running by that time, January 1st, 2029. So we ain't going to be out here prophesying much longer, all right? The famine of the word is going to hit, chaos is going to ensue, and then all hell is going to break loose. And then they're going to shut it down and open it back up under that beast system right in time for the missiles to destroy this place, all right? Because that Golden Dome, that ambitious project that he has, it ain't gonna stop the will of the Heavenly Father. Now let's read a little bit about this Golden Dome in this article right here from The Hill. It says Trump's Golden Dome timeline prompts head scratching. Right, because they're trying to figure out, well, how is he going to get this through in the next 3 years? Well, you will be surprised what someone that has that type of mindset can do. Okay? Because it's not just him. He's just a puppet of the elites. They want to try to prolong this system as much as possible, but they know their time is up, man. Okay? They know their time is up. That's why a lot of them are going to run to their bunkers and going to leave Babylon the Great. All right? They just want to give you the fire, the fuel for the fire for this altar, this sacrifice, you Babylonians, you Egyptians, the vote of confidence that you're going to be all right once the missiles come, man. But them, on the other hand, the elites got bunkers that they're going to run off to when all hell breaks loose. Okay? They just want to buy time by telling you, hey, we got this top-notch defense system that can intercept missiles coming from thousands of miles away. All while alone, they escaping into their bunkers outside of America. Okay? So it says, experts are scratching their heads at President Trump's ambitious 3-year timeline for Golden Dome. Right. You're scratching your head because it's not for you to get. All right. It's not for you to get why he's ambitious about this. Okay. He's ambitious about this project because he knows through the servants, the prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, that he don't have that much time. And it's not just him, it's the ones that's backing him, the ones that we can't see, because he's just a puppet head for them. All right? So it says, experts are scratching their heads at President Trump's ambitious 3-year timeline for Golden Dome, a next generation missile defense system he says is essential for the future of U.S. security, which the future ain't long. All right, the future is short for this place, man. Okay, so 3 years we could be within the amount, or within the span of 3 years we could be out of this place, man. Okay, 3 years we talking about we out of here, man. Not no 20, not no 30, and damn sure not no 1,000, man. Within a matter of months, really, that's less than 36 months, or right around that. All right, so we talking months away from here, man. We could be in the kingdom. Within months, we could be in the kingdom, man. Glorified. It says, intended to protect the skies over the continental United States. Right, because this is where it's coming from. The attack isn't going to come from up under. It's going to come from on top. The missiles are going to drop on top of this place, man. And it's going to what? Turn it into a literal lake of fire, all right? Because a lake doesn't flow like a river. A lake is stagnant, man. Ain't going to be no escaping out of this place. Those missiles are just going to sit here. That fire is just going to sit here and burn, man. All right? It says, intended to protect the skies over the continental United States. Golden Dome would mark a bold move into space, promising a network of space-based missiles launched from satellites to intercept missiles launched from the ground. Right, well, guess what? Those spirits, or those missiles, aren't just any old missiles. Those missiles have the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai in them, all right? And they're going to hit their intended targets, all right? You ain't going to intercept them out of space. And I know you have ambitious motive of thinking you are, but it ain't happening. And we're going to get it in prophecy just a little bit. It says, promising a network of space-based missiles launched from satellites to intercept missiles launched from the ground. But the expensive, untested technology is still years away from being fielded. Well, they don't have time. That's why they're pushing it forward. That's why it's ambitious, okay? Ambitious mean that despite everything else, they have to continue to move forward, all right? They're ambitious, meaning they don't care. They're willing to take all risk. It says such a system as called by Trump via a January executive order would take far more than the 2.5 to 3 years he boasted in the Oval Office on Tuesday, according to Melon Marlowe, a senior associate with the Center for Strategic and International Studies Missiles Defense Project. Well, guess what else would take more than 2 years or 3 years? And let's just say 7 years. But they was ambitious enough to get it out there in time. The jump shots, okay? The jump shots of 2020 going into 2021, when they came out with it, you don't supposed to have that type of juice out there without having a 7-year test trial. But what was it called? Operation, they had a name for it, Warp Speed. Operation Warp Speed. They brought the jump shot or the juice to the forefront sooner than 7 years. Okay, so when they're ambitious about something, they already know what they're going to do. Okay, so it doesn't matter if it's supposed to take more than 2 years. They got Operation Warp Speed that brought the jump shots out for the people to take after the 2020 pandemic went awry. They brought them out quicker than the 7-year test trial periods that they would take to use to see whether or not they're viable for people to even take. Now, on the Operation Warp Speed, I believe it's called, they brought that thing out within months, man. So how much more this Golden Dome being ambitious, knowing that he has but a short time? Okay, it says Golden Dome is not going to be a impenetrable missile shield across the entire United States of America, Marlowe told The Hill, adding that the system will require both short and long-term effort to come together. Trump claims the system could be finished in 3 years. Trump claims the system could be finished in 3 years are seen as lofty, given the sheer amount of satellites needed to cover and protect the entire U.S. via sensing and tracking missiles, some 400 to more than 1,000 satellites. Well, guess what? We talking about overkill here, because America's going to be hit with well over 200 million missiles, man. Or right around that number, pursuant to Revelation chapter 9. So it's going, those missiles are going to break this. Those missiles are going to overwhelm any system. All right. But this is why the heathens imagine vain things, man, because their kingdom is over. All right. It says another 200 attack satellites armed with missiles or lasers would need to be built to knock down enemy armaments. The first time such weapons would be put in space, but that technology has yet to be demonstrated. So the picture is being drawn here, okay? These heathens, these other nations, particularly America, is shaking in their boots, man. Okay, because they seeing and hearing the word of the servants, the prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and it's getting to them, which is why they getting ready to shut the internet down, because too much truth is coming out and making them unsettled, man. All right, it's only but so much they can do to keep the people at ease or quiet while they put the finishing touches on this beast system. So now it's a heavy vibration of World War III being spoken by the servants, the prophets, brewing over there with Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Palestine. And now they're trying to reassure the people here on the coastlines of America that we have your best interest at heart, we're building this $175 billion dome to protect any missiles that may come. All right, but before those missiles can come, the mark of the beast must be made mandatory. Even if it's 1 minute or 1 second after it's made mandatory and the missiles come, the mark of the beast must be made mandatory, okay? It must come first, man. All right, it could have the missiles and then simultaneously, it could have the mark of the beast first and then simultaneously the missiles hit at the same time, right after, okay? But the mark of the beast must be made mandatory first, okay? So you running out of time to repent, Jake, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right? Because your time is up, man. You know, you want to be part of this world, well, guess what? You're going to reap the benefits of this world, which is what? Destruction, okay? So we talked enough. Let's get a few precepts. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time." See, you inhabitants of the what? Earth and of the sea. Y'all gonna feel that destruction, man. Okay, because why? The chariots ain't gonna be beaming up everyone. All right, the chariots are only going to be beaming up the elect here from America. All right, and other places throughout the earth. All right, even islands, because islands are gonna be getting what? Shooken and hit from the repercussion of these missiles close to America, like Cuba, like Puerto Rico, those islands like those, Dominican, Haiti, you know, little small islands gonna be feeling the aftershock, man. But know this, there's a elect among those islands, and guess what? The chariots will be taking them up too, man. Okay? So it says, "Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time." So he's really about to get ready to turn things up, man. All right, this golden dome, Salakia, this golden dome is a sign that he knows he has but a short time. That's why he's trying to accomplish it by January 1st, 2029. That ain't too far off, man. That's why it's ambitious. That's why it's ambition. All right, because it's so short and so much to do in such a short time. It's ambitious. All right, but see, we know this devil, he's already been planning this well ahead of time. This ain't just something he just thought of on this term. They've been charting and mapping the prophecies spoken by the servants, the prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, for some 30, 40 years now. All right, even going back to the late 60s. Okay, so closing in on 50 years. They've been knowing this, okay, but they see the awakening in mass droves, man. You got Hebrew Israelites being talked about across all social media platforms. So now it's getting to them. Now they got to be more ambitious. See, back in the late 60s or 70s, not too many people knew about it. It wasn't a need to have this type of talk and have this type of defense, you know. But now in these latter days, the spirit is being risen. They see the writing on the walls. They got to come out with this January 1st, 2029. Okay? So the mark of the beast could very well much be Abaratazah, Father will, set up and in place before or right around that time. All right? Which is less than 3 years, or right around 3 years from now. Okay? So let's go to Jeremiah chapter 50. And what? Let's go to 51. This is Jeremiah 51 and verse 7. It says, "Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand." You see? That golden dome. Hey, Babylon, America, Trump, golden dome. It says that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. which is why when we jump back to verse 50, you're going to see the judgment for this place. And that's why the cause of concern for this Golden Dome is being talked about and being rushed to be set up by January 1st, 2029 by the ambitious mindset of the 47th President Donald J. Trump. It says, the nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad, both mentally and physically. It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. So you see, with us prophesying out of the Bible, this devil can't do nothing. Okay? Because we coming out of the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and we telling you through the spirit that Babylon, aka America, will be destroyed by the way of missiles, and the chariots. Okay? It's all written in the scriptures. All right? We just here to bring them out and bring them to your attention so that you can see it and get right with the Lord before he comes. Okay? Let's go to Revelation verse 9. In 1 second. This is Revelation 9 and verse 16. It reads, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. You see? And the horseman goes into the army of Yahweh, which is his missiles, okay? That he's preserving in the Shilohs of these other nations, okay? So, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. When you do the math, that's 200 million. Reserve missiles reserved for America, Babylon the Great, the whore, all right, that rideth upon the sea, okay? This place has a judgment reserved for her in the form of 200 million missiles to reward her double, pursuant to Revelation 18 and 6. So there's no amount of missiles you can have along with satellites that can intercept the missiles that's coming along with the chariots, man, which is why this place is going to fall within a literal hour. A literal hour. America's going to be decimated, okay? Call halal Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. This place will be decimated in an hour. With 200 million missiles in the chariots, man. It says, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. Okay? So, it's coming, man. All right? This defense, this Golden Dome, ain't going to be enough to stop the judgment of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. But see, that goes into part of the precept that we're going to look up in Psalms 2. All right, so let's go back to Jeremiah 50. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50. Well, we're in 51 now. Yeah, 51. We haven't gone to 50 yet. It says, Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand. See, Yahweh used Babylon. All right, she's been that golden cup. Okay. That other nations look at and say, I want to model my government after. I want to use democracy, all right? And pretty much, you know, they came and colonized other countries. You know, you look at South Africa. They colonized that, all right? And now they calling it genocide when the Africans want to come back and take their farmland, however it may be, okay? And you got Trump painting false narratives, okay, that what those crosses are of farmers that have been taken out by genocide. All right, when those crosses was way there, put there before any of this has ever happened, man. So it says the nations have drunken of her wine. See, this is why they're gonna come with that barrage of arrows, man, because they drunken of her wine. They seen the outcome. They seen their daughters. They seen their sons. They seen their culture change, and it's not to their liking, man. They no longer want to be part of this beast system anymore, man. All right. It says, therefore, the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. We just read that, Revelation 9 and 16. 200 million missiles, man, is reserved for this place of judgment. Howl for her. Take balm for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. See? So if so be, maybe that Golden Dome would have worked. Okay? Maybe Trump's ambitious plan to secure the coastlines of America along with the interior of America may be plausible or feasible. But it's not. As we're going to read, it says, take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. Check this out, verse 9. We would have healed Babylon. So you got to know who Babylon is, man. It's America. It's not. This is not speaking of the literal geographic place Babylon, which is over there in Iraq. This is talking about spiritual Babylon. Okay, but she is not healed. So there's no amount of safety you can reassure the people here on the coastlines of Babylon the Great that they're going to be okay once the missiles start to hit. All right, because you may not even get a warning. You may not even get a warning to go inside your so-called bunkers. Because if you got a bunker here in America, it ain't gonna matter, man. It ain't gonna matter. With 200 million missiles coming for overkill, you can't dig a hole deep enough underground to escape judgment, man. And then you got to worry about the aftermath, the what they call that, the white snow, the winter snow, with all the radiation settling. See, but the elect is going to be up in the chariots while all this is going on. Then everything settles down, the smoke clears, we come back down to take over and put the other nations into captivity and slavery and put them in continual employment for those 1,000 years. And after the 1,000 years, they can go back, learn the ways of our culture and our, religion, our law, statutes, commandments, and they'll live a more righteous lifestyle. And 1,000 years is past, the Edomites will what? Be bundled up and burned away with. The so-called white man, never to be spoken or heard from again, man. See, the other heathens, they'll be able to go back to their lands, but Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, doesn't have a land to go back to, okay? So it says, verse 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country. See, these are the elites that's going to have the means and motives to do so. Your regular Joe Smo 6-pack drinking Budweiser Edomite here in America don't have that. He may think that he got a bunker that he can go down underground 6-7 feet or maybe 10 or 12 feet. But man, that ain't gonna do no good, man. You talking about missiles that got tips of warheads that can disintegrate steel, man. You know how much fire it takes to melt steel? It takes at least 2,500 degrees, man. 2,500 degrees is the temperature where you can manipulate and soften and melt steel to an extensive level. And you telling me your bunker's going to be able to withstand millions of those missiles coming with warheads that's going to open up and let go of those missiles? Man, come on, man. Y'all Americans is through, man. And you wicked ass 2/3 Jakes as well. It says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven. Right, that's when you go into Revelation 18. Okay, her sins have reached the heavens and is lifted up even to the skies. Right, so this place is well overdue for judgment, man. Okay, from the Momo to the 2/3, man, this place is well due for judgment, man. And it's getting ready to come. And there's no amount of defense system that you can build. You could call it the platinum dome. Okay? And it still ain't gonna stop the will of the Heavenly Father, man. Alright, so this golden dome don't mean jack, man. Let's read that Jeremiah 50 and start at verse 14. This is Jeremiah 50 and 14. It reads, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. That's why that dome is shaped like a round, like a what do you call that? Dang, I can't think of that word. It's something spear, not a hemisphere. But that's why that dome is shaped like that, okay? To cover what? The entirety of America, okay? It's shaped like a dome, man. Because why? There's going to be attacks from every angle, from every part, all right? It's not just going to be all the missiles are going to come from the West Coast or from the East Coast. They're going to come from every angle, man. That's why that dome, that satellite defense system is depicted as a dome covering America, like a half of a spear, okay? It says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow. So all you countries that have the capability of bend the bow, which is that missile technology, it says, put yourselves in array. So surround about. So you're going to have countries, Russia, China, Iran. They're going to be missiles coming from the actual country, and then you're going to have them in, you know, the Navy sector in the oceans and the seas, man. They got Navy ships off the coast of Florida down there by Cuba, man. So, man, it's going to be overkill, man. Once those missiles start to let off, man, that defense, that golden dome ain't going to have no effect, man. Okay? You're going to have missiles, their job, their duty is just to penetrate the defense system, the dome. And then you're going to have other missiles that their job is to come and do the destruction, man. They're not going to break their ranks, okay? These missiles have specific jobs that the Lord has put his spirit in them to do, all right? And it's going to overwhelm this golden dome, all right? Just like the Israelis got a dome. I forgot what theirs is called. I think it's called something David Dome, or let me see if I can find that. Give me 1 second. Because Israel have their own rendering of a dome. And we seen what happened when, what was that? Iraq shot all those missiles, man. It overwhelmed that. I think it might be called David Sling or something like that. Give me 1 second. Of course, I type in Israel's dome system. It says Iron Dome. So it says Israel's defense system is called the Iron Dome, but David Sling served as a part of the second tier of Israel's theater missiles defense system. So their defense system is David Sling, man. All right, but that sling, that dome ain't gonna have effect, because guess what? That land is gonna be destroyed too, man. But unlike America, that land, Israel, is gonna be built back up. All right, because why? It has to be purged out before we, the true Israelites, come back home to it. All right, so those rats over there right now, they're going to flee the sinking ship. But guess what? They ain't going to escape, man. Those Edomites over there, they going to get hit and destroyed. That whole land, Israel, is going to be nuked, man. All right, but see, the difference between Israel and America is America won't ever be brought back up online again. You can kind of say America won't be ever spoken of or be able to be inhabited by people anymore. But the land of Israel will be. All right, we're going to be the ones that inhabit it. That's going to be our land once it's purged. Okay. So it says, Jeremiah 50:14, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. That's why that dome is shaped like that, because it's supposed to protect Babylon, America round about. Okay? It says, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows. That's why that 200,000, man, those 200 million missiles, man, spare no arrows, man. This is what your technology was meant for this particular day, man. To let go for Babylon being that golden cup that has made you mad. Okay? Release everything you got. Okay? This is it. See? And they under the impression that once Babylon, America falls, that they're going to rise in victory. No, that's when 2nd Ezra 13 comes into play. When Yahushua comes on that great mountain, that UFO, and all the other armies and nations turn and focus their energy on Yahushua, and he takes them all out, man. That's 2nd Ezra 13. Okay? Starting at the top. All right? Ezra saw that vision. So it says, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she have sinned against Yahweh. Right? Her sins have reached the skies, and this is her judgment. Shout against her round about. She have given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Revelation 18. Babylon the Great is fallen. It's fallen. It's become the habitations of devils, if I'm not mistaken. Her walls are thrown down. What are her walls? The defense. Okay? That golden dome, man. All right? Her satellites, her missiles, her intercepted missiles. Okay? They got this thing where they use X-rays to diffuse missiles. All that is going to be thrown down. All right? It's spoken of in Revelation. What is that? Might be, I can't think of it right off the bat. But it said, I believe that's Revelation. Man, I can't even think of it. Let me see. Revelation, I believe it's either 11. Oh man, Revelation. I don't believe it's this far in the book of Revelation, because it speaks of the angels. You know, Babylon. I think it's 11. Might be 12. Yeah, Revelation 12. All right. This is the war in heaven, man. Okay. This is what's going to happen upon Yahweh's second return, man. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. Well, part of that dragon, angels, is what? It's technology, it's missiles, it's defense system, along with other nations that's going to be teamed up with the dragon, which is the beast system. You know, the Roman Empire, man. America revived all over again, NATO and EU, but, you know, eventually they're going to turn on the whore, man. The beast is going to turn on the whore, man. Okay? America's going to do something that, you know, is going to cause the nations, NATO and EU, to turn on him when she gets brought in by the least of the flock, those small hats, those 1948ers, the so-called, Israelis, or that's what they are, but they're not Israelites, but the so-called Jews, they gonna drag America in, and then NATO and EU, the beast, is gonna turn on this whore, man. All right, and then Yahweh Shai is gonna make war, and it's gonna take the dragon fault and his angels. It's gonna take the dragon, which is the beast system. It's gonna be taken out of power along with the angels. Its satellites, its defense system, and other nations that's fighting alongside with them. All right. So when we go back to Jeremiah 50 and verse, what was that? 15 or 16? Let's start at 15. Shout against her round about. She have given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Right. That goes into her defense system. The angels, her angels, which is the satellites, her missiles, her missile system, everything, man. It's all going to fall. Her walls are thrown down. That's the defense system, that golden dome, man. That's supposed to be put up to protect oncoming threats like missiles. It's all going to be thrown down when Michael and the archangels come to make war, all right? Along with Yahushua leading the charge, okay? It says, her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of Yahweh. See, this is the spirit of Yahweh, man. That army, we're going to read about that army a little bit in Joel 2, but that army, which is those missiles, is coming in the spirit of Yahweh, all right? And they're going to hit their intended target, man. It says, take vengeance upon her as she have done, do unto her. Right, double unto her, as it says in Revelation 18 and 6, okay? That's where she's going to get those 200 million missiles, man. It's going to double, all right? Let's go to Joel chapter 2, and let's see the spirit of Yahweh being put in those missiles. This is Joel 2 and verse 1. It reads, blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. That's what we're doing. We're blowing the trumpet, man, to all those that will listen and take heed, telling you that, hey, time is running out, man. Get your shit together, all right? Because once this word is withdrawn and you can't figure out what's going on, you're going to be left for judgment right here along with Babylon and all the other inhabitants of Babylon, which are going to be what? That fuel for that altar, that sacrifice, that fire. It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. See, this is meant to strike fear in the inhabitants of the land. Knowing your judgment and hearing it week in and week out, and now seeing your president, the one that you look up to for directions and guidance, telling you that he got to fast forward this agenda, this goal to push this golden dome to protect you Americans. What do you need to be protected for? This is supposed to be the most powerful land and country in the world, man. All right. See, but what you fail to realize is the threat is going to come from within. Once the famine hits and people can't get food as they once did, they're going to be fighting within themselves. See, the missiles coming on top is just going to cap it off along with Yahweh Shai coming back. But the threat is going to come within the dome. Okay? The threat is going to come within the dome. The threat is to keep y'all asses from leaving out of the dome. All right? Especially you Jakes and you other elites, or not elites, but well-to-do Americans that think you're going to get in your private jets and leave. Hey, if you ain't got clearance to fly in that sky, them drones, those defense system, that Golden Dome is going to either shoot you out or, what's the word I'm looking for? Disconnect your jets or whatever it is that you're using to get out of here. Okay, it's going to scramble your radio frequency or whatever it is that's going to cause your jet to not go such a level that it can't fly safely. Okay, because that dome, it ain't just to stop things from coming in, but it's also to stop things from going out. Okay, it's a dome. Okay, so hey, y'all here, man. When the shit hits the fan, this is where you gonna be at, man. All right, ain't no escaping, man. The only way out of here is if you as a Israelite and of the elect, you'll get beamed up into the chariots. Outside of that, this is your place. This is your altar. This is your sacrifice. Let's read that in Isaiah 9. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 9. In verse 5, it says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." Right? So the people here are going to act as an agent of fuel, a burning fire to keep it burning, man. Because you got to think, America has somewhat 3 million people, or probably more than that, probably like close to 1 billion or more. That's going to be a lot of bodies put up for an altar to be sacrificed, to be burnt for a time, which is going to seem like forever. Okay, but eventually the smoke is going to die down, man. All right, but hey, you people, y'all are just here for that altar, that fuel for fire. Okay, so now going back to Joel 2 in verse 1, it reads what? "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion." This is what we're doing. This is why we're telling our people. This is why we're going out on the highway and hedges week in and week out, blowing the trumpet, "and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble." You see, you 2/3. If you knew what was coming, man, you would get right. But prophecy has to be fulfilled, pursuant to Zechariah 13 and 8. 2/3 should be cut off and die, man. All right, so y'all ain't gonna take heed. It says, "For the day of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand," meaning it's close, man. All right, judgment is right around the corner. Okay, and if you ain't right, guess what? You're gonna be fuel for the fire, man. It says, verse 2, "A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong." This is that army. "That there have not been ever the like." Right? You ain't gonna never see another army like this again, man. Okay, 200 million missiles, all designed for one specific purpose. It says, "There have not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it." Right? Because after that, nations aren't going to learn war anymore. It won't be any need for missiles and jets and things of that magnitude. All right, we're gonna burn everything up. We're gonna gather all the weapons up and burn them up, man. All right, with spiritual powers. All right, which is why there's no nations that are gonna come up against us in the kingdom, man. All right, so after this World War III, the third war is over with. It ain't gonna be no more like this. This is the end all, the end all. The third war, World War III. All right. It says, "There have not been," Slocky, let me jump up a little bit in Joel 2 and 2. It says, "A great people and a strong. There have not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land as the Garden of Eden before them." That's before the missiles come to touch down. It's going to look like the Garden of Eden, beautiful. Everything is flourishing. "And behind them a desolate wilderness." But after they hit and they leave the destruction, after they done their job, it's going to look like destruction, man. You ain't going to be able to recognize America anymore, man. You ain't going to be able to say, "Oh, that's Washington, D.C., or that's the San Francisco Bridge, or that's this, that's that." No, it's going to look like rubble, okay? You ain't going to be able to tell the difference, all right? "Oh, that was New York City. Oh, that was Miami. Oh, that was St. Louis. That's the arch." No, all of that shit is going to be done, man. That fire is going to disintegrate all of that. It says, a fire, where we at? A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. America's going to be through, man. There ain't going to be a pocket of America where you can get in the crevices and you can try to, you know, bundle up or squeeze up into like a fetus position and hope that the fire go over. Everything is going to be disintegrated and burned here in America, man. It says, yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. We read it in Revelation 9:16, man. All right. It says, like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap. Like the noise of a flame of fire, they devoureth the stubble. A strong people set in battle array. Right. These missiles, they're going to be marching to the tune or to the orders of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, man. Which is why this golden dome is in vain, man. You're not going to be able to stop what's coming, man. The Most High has raised up these other nations to have the technology to what? To use against you. It says what? Beat your plowshares into swords, man. They have had enough time to do reverse technology and reverse engineering, so now they have the capability to rival you and to come up against you, okay? The Most High is using the missiles that they have put in store in those Shilohs to what? Be used for this particular very moment. It says, verse 5, like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains, they shall leap. Like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pain. All faces together blackness. See, it ain't going to be pretty, man. Verse 7, they shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. They're going to climb over that damn golden dome, man, and right through it, man. Just like that Iron Dome over there in Israel and that David sling, that defense shield. They gonna run through all of that, man. You think, man, you don't know what judgment is, man. This new Golden Dome ambitious project by Donald J. Trump, man, them missiles gonna run right over that, man. It says, verse 9, they shall run to and fro. Wait, where we at? We don't want to jump one. This is getting good. Let's start at 7. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one on his ways. And they shall not break their ranks. See, the Most High has got these missiles designed specifically for that task, that duty. All right. I'm sending these missiles to DC. I'm sending these missiles to Idaho. I'm sending these missiles because he knows exactly where every missile is going to hit here in Babylon, man. All right. This has already been planted out from the beginning. All right. From the beginning of times, man. It's just that we getting close to being played out in real time, man. It says, and they shall not break their ranks. Verse 8, neither shall one thrust another. They ain't going to be bumbling because these interceptors, these satellites is scrambling them and making them hit each other. No, man. They're not going what? Neither shall one thrust another. They're not going to hit each other and they're not going to be hit, man. You ain't gonna, these satellites ain't, these defense satellites, this Golden Dome ambitious project ain't going to affect this, man. And you people, it's gonna look like stars falling from heaven when you look up in the sky and see it, man. Like that movie 300 when it said we should fight in the shade. And they laugh and they say, why are you laughing at? And one of the members from the 300 says, well, he did say we were gonna fight in the shade, and the arrows came and blocked out the sun, and it was, as if they were fighting under the shade, man. All right. Well, just imagine 200 million missiles coming. Okay. It says, neither shall one thrust another. they shall walk everyone in his path. See, they're going to be walking right on that path that Yahweh has sent them on. You ain't going to be able to break that path because you got a defense system. No, it's going to be ones that's job is particularly to get through that missile system. So what? Give the other one the path to walk straight through its intended target. It says, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. See? They ain't going to be wounded, man, when they fall upon the sword, this defense, this system, because you're going to have Esau, Edom, America, with its defense shooting missiles. Well, guess what? Their sword ain't going to be able to stop these missiles, man. It's going to be, you got to remember, these missiles that's being shot roundabout are coming in the spirit of Yahweh, man. He's putting the spirit on these missiles to hit their intended targets. So how are you going to send missiles to intercept them? Because see, America and its pompous, proud ass belief may think, well, we are overwhelming. They got 200 million, or we got 400 million missiles. It don't matter what you got. They ain't gonna fall on the sword, your missile system. They ain't gonna fall, man. These missiles are meant specifically to come do the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. And we read it in Jeremiah 50 and 51. It says, they shall run, verse 8, neither shall one thrust another, they shall walk everyone in his path. They gonna walk, man, straight. It's like when you walk into the mailbox, you know which way you gonna walk. You ain't walking to the backyard. If you got a mailbox in the front yard, you gonna walk to the front yard. So these missiles is walking in complete, obedience. They ain't gonna be getting sidetracked and thrown off and going around. No, they're gonna walk straight to their point, to their destination. It says, they shall walk everyone in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. Right, those missiles from other country, well, America, and along with the NATO and EU, ain't gonna have any effect on these missiles, man. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run up the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. That's them going into that what? That golden dome, that iron dome. These defenses, they're going to go through the windows, okay? Because they're going to come through that dome, man. All right? They're going to come through the windows like a thief. Oh, man, I thought we had that impenetrable golden dome. We spent $175 billion for it. How is these missiles coming that don't even have the capability? We did all the math, man. We knew that these other countries didn't have the capability to get through our defense system. But how are they getting through it? Because they're being directed by the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. Okay? It says, the earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Right, because once those missiles come, man, like in 300, the moon, the sun is going to be darkened, man. All right, we're talking about overkill here in America. 200 million missiles, that's more than enough to get the job done to set this place on fire. All right, especially if you got oil refineries here in America, like those in Texas and states like that, man, it's going to be burning, man. It's going to be on fire here. All right, so let's go to Psalms 2. We get ready to close out. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, why do heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? That golden dome, that's a vain thing, man. To think that you're going to have the capabilities to stop this prophecy to come into pass because you spent $176 billion. No. It's coming to pass, all right? It's coming to pass, and there's nothing you can do. You can try to give the people a vote of confidence and tell them all you want that we putting up this defense system within the next 3 years, and we're going to have it impenetrable where no missiles could come through, and we're going to tell you that that's a lie, according to the scriptures, man. There's nothing you can do to stop this. It says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Right, they don't want to go into slavery, okay? Because that spells the end of their rulership, man. Yahweh Shai returns, it's the end of their rulership. All these nations are going into slavery outside of Israel. The Israelites, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Verse 2, the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed. See? So they think they're going to make a golden dome that's going to stop the will of the Heavenly Father. It says, and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder. See, they think they're going to be able to escape going into slavery. Let us break their bands asunder. They think they're going to be able to break the shackles and the chains that we're going to put on them, man. It says, and cast away their cords from us. See, they think, oh, if we can make this dome, we don't have to go into slavery. Missiles won't come and hit us, so they can't take us into slavery. Nah, man, we going to bundle y'all asses up and take y'all into slavery, all right? So y'all ain't going to be able to escape these chains that y'all getting ready to go into, and y'all ain't going to be able to cast away our cords that we going to put around you, man. Y'all ass going into slavery, man. All y'all that's hiding in the bunkers, Revelation 16, you ain't going to get an easy death. We're going to come in there and dig your ass out, man. This is Revelation 6 and verse 5. It says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Now that's not it. That's going into the famine. I'm looking for where they said, I think this might be it. Give me 1 second. Yeah, this is it. This is Revelation 6 and verse 15. It reads, and the kings of the earth, and the great man, and the rich man, and the chief captains, and the mighty man, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. So you see, these elites, the capability that they're going to have to leave America and leave other places to escape, because they got bunkers and places where you would never imagine. Not only in the rocks and in the clefts, but they got them underground. You know, they got them in the ocean. They even have them up there in space, like with the satellites and stuff, to escape this. Well, guess what? You can't. Okay? It says, and the kings of the earth, and the great man, and the rich man, and the chief captains, and the mighty man. This is going into the elites. And every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. Verse 16, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us. See, they gonna want the mountains and the rocks to fall on them to what? To escape going into slavery and captivity. That's why they imagine a vain thing in Psalms 2 and saying they should not put us in chains and shackles. Let us break their cords and asunders. All right? They don't want to go into slavery. They would rather have the rocks to fall on them from the missiles hitting other places of the world where they may be in their bunkers. But guess what? Those bunkers, little do they know, are going to preserve them for what? To be the first batch of slaves to go into slavery, man. Okay? Jeremiah 16, it says what? This is Jeremiah 16 and verse 16. It reads, but I will send for many fishers, saith Yahweh. That's what we're doing. We're fishing right now. And they shall fish them. We're fishing for the elect. And after I will send for many hunters. Well, you know, some of us going to have those spiritual powers along with the angels to go what? Hunt for these elects. I mean, for these elites that's going to be hidden in these dens, these bunkers, all right, these caves. It says, and after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain. That's what we're reading in Revelation 6, all right? These elites, they're going to be hid off in these dens, these bunkers, Some underground, some in caves, some in oceans, some in space. You know, we gonna go hunt for them along with the angels. Some of us, you know, the Lord's gonna give the spiritual powers on this side, and then when we come out of the chariots, you know, the so-called UFOs, we gonna take the rest and put them into slavery. It says, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks. That's why they're gonna want the rocks to fall on them, because they don't want to go into what? Slavery. They never had a hard day of work in their life before, man. We gonna put their ass to work, man. That's why they imagine a vain thing, man. It's vain for them to think that they're gonna escape judgment. Let's build a golden dome. The mindset of Esau Edom, man. Gonna take their ass and put them right to work, man. So let's go back to Revelation 6. In verse 16, this is the elites saying to the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, which is Yahushua and Yahweh, and from the wrath of the Lamb. See? Because Yahweh's going to send Yahushua along with the 144,000, those men with spiritual powers, the next ruling governing bodies, to what? Put these damn heathens, these other nations into slavery, man. Jeremiah 16:16. Okay? It's going to be some hunt, man. You know, Aparatasa. Some of the brothers get the spiritual powers to take part of that. All right? You see? But we are going to take them into slavery once we come out of the chariots, man. All right? We gonna come hunt, come get them out of their bunkers, and we're going to round them up, put them in the pit, leave them there for a while, come back and check on them, give them their first task, which is to bury these dead bodies. And from there, it's just gonna get funner and funner for us, man. Having slaves, man, that's part of the kingdom. All right? That's why they imagine these vain things. That's why they want that golden dome, man. They don't want to go into slavery. Well, guess what? Your ass going, man, and there's nothing you can do. All right? So let's finish up and close out with 1 Peter 5 and 8. I know this was kind of lengthy, but you know, it was pretty good, man. This is 1 Peter 5 and 8. It reads, be sober, be vigilant. See? If you ain't in the spirit and you not wanting this to happen, you ain't sober, and you damn sure ain't vigilant, because you don't know what's going on, man. All right? Here it is. We in the worst time of history to not know what the hell is going on, man. But the best time in history if you know what's going on, because you see the end of this man's kingdom coming to an end by him making that proclamation that he's moving forward with ambitious prospects of building a golden dome by January 1st, 2029 for the threats of other countries. Show you that this shit ain't slowing down, man. Okay? They don't fear this damn man. All right? This was the quote-unquote great white hope, the last hope of America to be built great again. And they don't even respect this, man. Who else are they going to put after Trump is out of office? J.D. Vance? Who they going to raise up, man, that these other countries are going to look at? Man, come on. This is America. This is America's last sign of hope. A so-called old 70-something-year-old white man. That's supposed to be their last representation of that man from back in the days where America ruled back in the 40s and 50s. Outside of that, who they gonna put up next, man? They can't find no one else, man. This is it. You think they're gonna put a 34-year-old, 44-year-old so-called white man in the White House, and these other countries are gonna look at him as someone to be respected? You think a Putin is gonna look at a 34-year-old or however old you can be to be the president, a 40-year-old man, so-called white man, who don't have no history and know what the hell's going on? No, man. Trump is the last hope for America. He represents that good old boy back when, you know, so-called white man could grab a woman by their ass and there would be no repercussions, man. All right? He represents that time back then, man. And they don't fear this damn dude, man. They don't fear him. So who they gonna put after him? No one, man. This is it, man. This vain thing that they imagine, this golden dome, hey, that's for you peons that don't know no better, man. All right? That's why we say what? Be sober, be vigilant. Because your adversary, the devil, the so-called white man, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Oh yeah, we good. We got a $176 billion defense system. We Gucci for the next 10, 20, 30 years. We ain't worrying about no one. By that time, everything will be settled back down. See? That's the vein and imagine that these heathens imagine. That's the vain thing that these heathens imagine. This golden dome will prolong them going into slavery for another 20, 30 years. All right? But not so, man. This is just spelling the end for their rulership, because they got to move forward with this microchip, man, to get everyone is chipped as much as they can before they lose power. All right? So be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. All right? So with that being said, pray some moments edified through this lesson, and until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We almost home. Shalom. Peace.